This is Vernon Birmingham with KCKpreps.com. We come to you this evening with the Coach's Corner. This is an opportunity that we like to do with KCK Preps to allow the fans, community, even the players and fans of other teams to learn about the different coaches within the schools that we covered, the 10 schools within the Wyandotte County area. So this evening we have an opportunity to sit down with Coach Andy Price, the head coach of Bonner Springs Braves. Coach, thank you for your time. How are you?
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Good. So we want to start off, like I said, we try to get individuals to learn a little bit about the coach. So if you could just share a little bit with us about, your job or duties within the Bonner Springs School District, and even tell us maybe a thing or two you like to do in your spare time.
Okay. Well, this is my 13th year at Bonner Springs School District, and during that time, this is my 7th year as the head boys coach, and done a little teaching, taught some geometry and some algebra, and I've also worked in the technology department, and for the last 8 years I've been the assistant director of technology, so kind of have to help maintain the technology throughout the whole school district. Free time I like to spend some time with family and all kinds of sports, and we like to go garage sailing and finding good deals and stuff like that on Saturdays, and definitely into the technology and computers. Any kind of a technology gadget is fun for me to know about too.
Okay. So my wife would definitely love to hang out with you guys, going out with the garage sales for the best deals. She tried to drag me along, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it. That's not my thing. I found it interesting you used to teach math, and you are in big technology now, and I kind of joked with Coach Parr last week at Sumner, who teaches science and things along those lines. It used to always be a stereotype that I help myself, that most coaches teach PE or social studies. So to hear that you're involved with math and technology, that's kind of cool to me. And even teaching technology, how's that? Because I'm sure probably a lot of students these days might be teaching you as much as you're teaching them.
You're right. And I teach just one class at the high school, and we got about 10 kids in there, and you're right. They come in with stuff. I'm like, hey, what's that? And they show me a lot of neat things, and I try to show them some things too. But it's kind of a hands-on class. We have the kids go out and fix some of the problems in the high school and keep the technology working correctly. So kind of they help us, and we help them at the same time.
Gotcha. Your kids have you tweeting and Facebooking?
A little bit. I know that we're probably the most high-tech basketball program because our website, we have Twitter and Facebook and everything on there. So I don't do it a lot myself, but I get on we do have an account for basketball that I go on and just send out updates of how the team's doing. Okay,
yeah, you definitely have a lot of players who like to tweet, which I've learned in the last few weeks as I start following some of them, and they have some good stuff to say. So, so you've been with District 13 years, you're 7 years coaching. You used to coach previously here as the head coach at Bonner. Then you took a break for a little while, and you came back recently. So you stepped away. Why'd you step away?
Mostly just to spend a little more time with the family. I mean, coaching is one of those things where if you're not careful, you can really let it consume you, and I was letting that happen. I mean, I was having a hard time sleeping and just spending so much time and effort on it, and it was fun and everything, and I enjoyed it, but I just needed to take a step back and get the right perception of things and do a better job with my own family and my job in the technology department.
So now that you've been back now 2 years, second year back, how's it been the second time around coaching?
Well, I think I learned a lot, just kind of by watching from afar. You kind of learn, you evaluate not necessarily what other coaches are doing, but you kind of see things that you could have been doing better. And I think I learned from some of those things, and just having a different perception about it, and not getting so wrapped up in wins and losses, but get more involved with teaching the kids skills that are going to help them in their futures, and which is the reason you get into coaching in the first place. But it's hard not to get wrapped up in wins and losses sometimes, because that's what everybody looks at. But and also hired an extra coach. We did some fundraising and were able to hire an extra coach who's just an assistant coach. He doesn't coach any JV or freshmen, so sort of having two head coaches. I mean, he coached with me before and has been a head coach before. Dan Strite is his name, and just having sort of two head coaches to balance out some of the extra duties that we have to do as a coach has helped a lot as well.
Definitely. And I think we had a chance to talk before, and I think you mentioned delegating more of those duties to the other kind of pretty much associate head coach, as well as some of the other coaches on the staff, which is pretty cool, because it probably prepares them for if down the line they get their own program, head job, they have a little bit of that hands-on experience like you was talking about with the technology class to help them prepare them for any future coaching opportunities they have.
And something that you don't really think about until you are a head coach is it's a year-round job. I mean, we're paid for 3 or 4 months, but if you really want to compete, you've got to put teams together in the summer, not just one team. I mean, last summer we had a varsity, a JV, a freshman team, as well as an 8th grade team, a 7th grade team that all played summer ball. And now you got to find people to coach those teams, and it's not easy to do. So what we've tried to do is get all of our assistant coaches on board, our JV freshmen, Coach Strite, and also our 8th grade A and B coaches, our 7th grade A and B coaches, and just kind of present it to them. Look, if we all do a little bit, it's going to make a big difference. And you can't have one person doing everything; it just won't work. So they've all bought into that, and we really have had probably the best from 7th grade to varsity, one of the best staffs we've ever had.
Cool, because yeah, that's pretty cool. Because like you said, it takes more than just one. That's how a program. I guess there's a difference between having a team and having a program,
Right. And
that's how the good programs do it when they start getting the coaches involved at the 7th and 8th grade level. So that's pretty cool. So let's talk about your team a little bit. You come into tonight's game 15-4, 10-3 in conference. So let's talk about some of your guys on your team. For example, let's talk about B.J. Watson. I looked at a stat when I was looking the other night with B.J., but he's definitely one of the spark plugs of your team, one of the guys who make the team go. But this stat kind of blew me away. He's made more free throws than anyone else on your team attempted. So let's talk about B.J. a little bit, what he's meant to your team.
Well, that characteristic of him is just kind of a good summary of how he is. He's really smart, and he is a coach on the floor, and he understands the game. For his senior project, he coached a 5th grade team, and he really has a knack for coaching. And you can just tell in practice when we're doing things, sometimes he's a little bored with it because he already knows the things that other players really need to learn, but he does a really good job of helping them with it and being a coach on the floor. And he's just a really smart basketball player. He really knows the game, and it's nice to have your point guard be that person. And not only that, I mean, he can shoot, he takes care of the ball, and in the last half of the season, and he put this on himself. I didn't really say anything to him, but I've noticed that he's really done a much better job of trying to get his teammates involved. He's at times when he would sometimes penetrate in and shoot a bad shot against defense. Now he's starting to understand when to pitch it out for shooters and having more confidence in his teammates. And the way he's playing right now is just really making our whole team better.
So we have B.J. Watson, but we also, if I remember looking at your roster, you have 8 seniors?
Correct.
Let's talk about your senior class and what they meant to you.
Well, it is a pretty great class, and the 4 years where I gave up coaching varsity, 2 of those years, the first 2 years, I actually coached 8th grade, and so I coached these seniors when they were 8th graders. Not all of them, because B.J. transferred from Sumner, and David Franklin and Ivory Elijah both transferred after that time. But as a class, I already coached them in 8th grade, so I think that kind of made it a little easier for me to get back into it because I knew what they were going to be like, and I knew they were good kids and hard workers. And it's really hard to keep 8 seniors. I think the biggest challenge we've had this year is keep everybody happy on playing time. And we knew that going in. We kind of tried to tell the kids in conversations that it's going to be hard. Some games are going to be different than other games because it's really hard to play 9 or 10 guys in a varsity game and keep everybody happy and keep the right flow. So that's been a challenge for us, but I'll take that challenge any day over not having enough good players.
We had opportunity. If you haven't, maybe you have to go search for this on kckpreps.com. But a few weeks ago, David Brox, who's with KCK Preps, actually posted a picture of that team when they were in 8th grade. So it was amusing in a sense. But like you said, they've changed greatly over that time. So you also have some younger players who stepped up for you. So Jordan Jackson. What year is Jordan again?
Jordy's a sophomore. And he played a little bit of varsity as a freshman, and was a really good shooter. He struggled his freshman year shooting the ball, and now midway through his sophomore year, he's really started to find his confidence and starting to make shots. And he does so many other things too. I mean, he can defend, he can rebound, he gets a lot of deflections, and great defensive players. So he's just a really good all-around player. And now that he's starting to make his outside shot, it just really makes him a complete player and helps our team.
Especially, like you said, this part of the year, entering sub-state within the next week, it definitely has to be positive, exciting for you to see. He's been on a hot shooting streak lately. I think he hit 7 threes in a game recently. So as you said, he kind of comes, before you start to peak. So is that what you kind of expected from him?
Well, that's what I was hoping for, definitely. I mean, and he's been playing well all year, and he shot the ball okay all year. But now all of a sudden, it seems like he's getting in a groove, and really all of our guys have started to shoot the ball better. We had 5 home games in a row, and we're getting ready to host sub-state. So we've really put a lot of stress. Almost spending half of our practice time shooting and talking about how, you know, this is our home court and we need to make shots and on our home court, free throws and jumpers, and that's going to have to be our equalizer against these teams that are a little bit bigger and stronger.
And speaking of bigger and stronger teams, tonight we have Baser Linwood, who up to this point has already clinched at least a share of the league title, and they have an opportunity of winning this game to get it outright. And you guys don't have an opportunity to win the league, but you have an opportunity to play spoiler. How does that, you know, going from an opportunity to win league to actually having the chance to play spoiler for a team?
One time when I was a player in college, I was in that situation. We were playing a team that had, if they needed to win to move on to the regionals, and if they lost, their season was over. And we were in a situation where our season was over regardless. So it's definitely a relaxing, you know, you just go out and put it all on the line. You know it's the last game, and you know that nobody expects you to win, and it's kind of fun. You know, the pressure's all on them. It's kind of fun trying to be spoiler. Definitely. So just, you know, really no pressure. And we know our sub-state now. We played Bishop Ward Tuesday and Baser tonight, and then next week we turn around and do the same thing. We're gonna have Bishop Ward Tuesday, and if we get by them one more time, then we'll most likely have Baser again on Friday. So it's almost like a practice week. I mean, there's just really no pressure. We can just go out and play hard and relax and find out what works and what doesn't work, and then it'll be up to us to try to make some adjustments prior to the next Tuesday and Friday.
Right, and as a coach, I'm sure, you know, you mentioned you will have to play them again. You would also, again, probably like to play as well as you can against them to even give your guys more confidence going into that game next week. And at the same time, you know, have an opportunity to win an important game going into sub-state. You know, going into sub-state on the winning streak, of course, would be positive for you guys.
We definitely want to try to win and play the spoiler role, and winning would give us a lot of confidence. But you know, like I said, it's a situation where if we play hard and compete, I think we're going to have enough confidence as well.
Okay. So with the Bobcats, Chase Younger, their young guard, has been playing well as of late as well, which kind of like with you guys with Jordy playing well. But of course, their team is based upon their three big guys, the Murphy twins and Ben Johnson. For you guys, you'll have Stevie Williams and Brett Stewart kind of lining up against that trio, that triple-headed monster. You know, the challenge. What do you think about your guys? You played them before, but how would they match up?
Well, it's really just they're very skilled, and the three bigs are not only big, but they're very skilled players. They can handle the ball, they can pass the ball, they can shoot the ball, and both Murphys can make three-pointers. So it creates a really difficult matchup for us. And we've got some strength as well, but we lose a few inches on them. So we got to make up for that by being quicker, by boxing out, and by having five guys go after the rebounds. And you know, watching film from the last time we played them, they beat us 14-3 on the offensive rebounding stat, and we were pretty much even everywhere else. We were pretty much even. I mean, within one or two on turnovers, within one or two on shooting percentage, but they just got too many second chances. You know, I don't know how many points that added up to be, but it was probably, we lost the game by 8, I believe, and they probably had at least 12, if not more, second chance points. Where you know, sometimes we boxed out and just didn't box out strong enough. I mean, it's a difficult task, so we just got to be a little bit tougher. And sometimes we did a poor job of boxing out. So we really got to find a way to get those offensive rebounds down to, you know, more from the 5 to 7 range rather than 14 or 15.
All right, and with your guys, especially with, like you said, the Murphy twins and Johnson, a lot of individuals always hear a lot about them. You think that fires them up a little bit more going into this matchup to kind of check them a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I know there's a little bit of rivalry between Bonner and Baser, and you know, the first go around when I was coaching, before Coach McBride really got their program off the ground, we had won. We beat them about 10 or 12 times in a row, and I remember a comment that Coach McBride made one time was, "It's not a rivalry when the same team wins every time." And so I think right now there's a little bit of that issue. I mean, we played them close a few times, but they beat us a good 5-6 years in a row every game. So it's not really a rivalry until we can prove we can beat them.
Okay. And so let's talk about a little bit more about the game tonight. You know, you just mentioned rebounding. The rebounding piece is going to be huge. What other keys to the game do you see for the Braves in order to win this game?
Well, you know, they're obviously bigger and have a lot of talent, and I think where we maybe have an advantage is just being a little bit quicker off the dribble. So, you know, in the last game we were able to beat them off the dribble and draw fouls, and when they helped, we did a good job of dropping off for a layup for our post players or pitching out for a three, and we've got to do that again. We got to beat them on penetration, and then we got to finish. We got to drop it off and score it, or we've got to pitch it out and we got to hit open shots.
Cool. So we're looking forward to another great game between the Braves and the Bobcats tonight. And potentially, as we said, next week we might have the third matchup of the season. So that's the end of our main segment. So we started, again, this is probably our second time doing this. So I added another feature last week with Coach Parr, what we call the deep three. I just try to think of a term that tied into basketball, and of course, no matter if you're a guard, even forwards or post these days, everybody want to be able to shoot that deep three. So I throw out just 3 deep, semi-deep, not really deep questions, and was just kind of something that you didn't get prepped with. So let's see how it goes. So we heard that this will be your last year coaching here at Bonner. What are your plans after this?
Well, I've taken a job as a director of technology for Ottawa School District, and they're a similar size school district to Bonner. A high school, middle school, 3 elementaries, and it's kind of going from assistant coach to head coach, and just going to have more responsibilities, and it's a chance for me to get into administration and leadership a little bit more. And I'll have a staff of 7 people underneath me that I'll have to maintain and try to maintain the technology for the whole district. So it's going to be a big challenge, and I won't be doing any coaching, so I'm going to miss that aspect of it. But it will give me the opportunity to be home a little more and coach my own kids a little bit more.
Cool. All right, second question. Been in Bonner Springs as long as you have, taught in the district, worked in the district 13 years. We talked about this a little bit. My office is around the corner from here, and I don't eat much in Bonner, but what would be the best place to eat in Bonner Springs, you think?
Well, I think I've eaten at every place in Bonner Springs 25 times, and I can't say that I really have a favorite. We just kind of have a rotation where we don't go to the same place twice in 1 week. But during the basketball season, I for sure hit up Dairy Queen a lot. It's kind of a close, easy place to go, and it's the only place right in town that I go to quite a bit.
See, Coach is also smart. He didn't pick one place to be his favorite. So when he goes into the places and the Bonner community sees this, they don't hold anything. And my third question, the individual who used to coach when you took a break, Ryan Hull, I used to actually teach with him and coach with him back when we used to work together at Schlegel High School. So he still works here. I think he's the golf coach as well. He does a lot of PA announcing for the basketball games. So we had this running joke. A lot of students actually started this when we were at Schlegel together, but I just want to get your opinion because you got a chance to have seen him for a while. So I'm going to show you a picture here. I want to show you these 2 individuals look together. I mean, if they look alike, resemble each other. But if we look at this picture here, on the top we have Woody from Toy Story, and then we have Ryan Hull. They look alike to you?
Yeah, they definitely do. It's almost like they made that character based on Ryan, isn't it? But Ryan, he was his first year at Bonner. He was my assistant coach, and we've gotten to be really good friends since then. And but it's funny that he probably thought he was escaping that comparison when he left Schlegel. But our players that year picked up on that as well, and we're hitting him on it all the time. So I didn't know that. I thought that we were the first ones to discover that. I didn't know that Schlegel had already discovered that one too. No, I don't think he liked it very much, but he took it all in stride.
It's more than one school and one district that thinks Ryan Hull looks like Woody from Toy Story. So, well, Coach, we appreciate your time this afternoon, especially with the big game coming up this night. But we thank you for taking time for KCK Preps, and we thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully, you got a chance to know a little bit about Coach Price here and his Bonner Springs Braves as they have a big matchup this evening against the Macer Linwood Bobcats. This is KCK Preps, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember